a TikTok filter.
If I walk into that tripwire,
Right,
could be all over.
Nadia, take it away.
Right, hello everyone. I'm Nadia Kasdaghli. I'm a lecturer in game art and design over in CAM. You might have to forgive me today, I've got a bit of a sore throat, so if I do start choking in the middle of this, that's why. I'm going to talk a bit about memory retention today for people. You might think as a teacher that your job is primarily to teach, and that is your job, is to inform people. But I think probably the secondary role, probably a really massive role, is just to actually make sure that you're actually embedding that knowledge for people and actually helping them remember what you say. So the human mind is a little bit like a machine, like a computer. Think of it like a hard drive. It's constantly storing and keeping information. Although, unlike a computer, there's so many variables that affect how you remember things. If you put information into a computer, it's going to remember it forever. Whereas we're emotional beings, there's so many variables there that are going to affect how long you remember things, if you remember it, and if you even want to remember it. So, unlike machines, we have interests and needs and emotions, and all these are going to play on how we want to remember things. As humans, we've evolved to store so much data. Our brain is stronger at calculating than a computer. Even though you might not be good at math, your brain is built for these advanced calculations. So rhythm and repetition is something I want to talk about as well. So have a bit of think about how many songs you know. You probably know hundreds, if not 1,000. And there's reasons for that, because these songs are catchy, they have rhythm to them, they have a beat, and they influence your emotions so intensely. If you're feeling really happy, you're probably going to go and find a really happy song to listen to. If you're feeling really sad, you're probably going to go and find a really sad song so you can wallow in your own pity just a bit more. So songs are really important to us as people. They help us get through the day. The choruses repeat. This repetition makes it stay in your brain so much stronger. And the words are relatable, so we listen. Fleetwood Mac is my favourite band. I absolutely love Stevie Nicks. A lot of their songs, the drama of this band, a lot of these songs are written out of so much spite and a lot of really relatable experiences. So people come back to it and listen to it because they want to relate to these people. And in a sense, we can sort of relate a lesson back to a song and think of it in like a rhythmatic sense, if that's even a word. I'm not a music teacher. So repeating phrases and terminology is kind of similar to a chorus. Like as a 3D artist, I might say, retopology, UV and wrapping, n-gons all over and over and over again, so that it's drilled into their mind like a chorus over and over again. And the structure of your lesson is kind of like the beat. It's the baseline that you work from in order to communicate with your students and in order to teach them better. You need some kind of a plan there to work from, even if you don't have like a formal lesson plan laid out. So, like songs as well, your words and you are relatable for your students. So if you're an art teacher, the chances are that you like art, and the chances are that the students you're teaching also like art. If they're an art student and they really don't like art, I'd be quite surprised. So they're going to sort of relate to you and gravitate towards you because of that. So with rhythm and repetition, we allow people to remember more while talking to them. So here's a bit of a literal example. I'm sorry if this brings flashbacks to anyone, particularly around my age of 25. But when I was in high school and we did math, and we were looking at circles and geometry and calculating the circumference and area of circles, they used to play this song over and over again, and it used to absolutely terrorise me. But I was then sat in my exam singing it to remind me how to do things like a crazy person, and it actually did help. So I'm going to play a snippet of it just so you can kind of take yourself back to high school, me sat in my exam and singing this to myself. Really quiet. that's enough of that. I don't think I could endure anymore because it will be in my head for the rest of the day. So pi r squared sounds like area to me. Pi times radius squared is the area of the circle. And because that was sort of playing over and over again and repeating itself to a rhythm and to a beat, I was remembering it and using it in my math exam, and I miraculously passed maths, even though I hate maths, and I still hate maths. I still remember that song 10 years later, because that was how annoying it was. So you could sort of come up with a song for something, although it could be a bit patronising if it's not done right, so think about how you would do that. But even something silly like that, I remember it because it was silly. So the good, the bad, and the boring with remembering things. I've kind of gone with a bit of a theme here. You might notice it's a little bit, AI generated some pictures. But so people are more likely to remember good events or humorous situations. They stick with you. If someone's having fun, they're going to talk about it with their friends, and they're going to say, "Oh, I've had a blast," and then they're going to remember it years later. Humour can be so powerful in your teaching, and it's going to be really good for keeping them engaged with the work and help them remember that. So it doesn't have to be difficult to make something interesting. As long as you're passionate about what you teach and you enjoy it, then they're probably going to mirror your behaviour and be engaged as well. So for an example, I made my students 3D model a Henry Hoover, and because I knew my students and they're all kind of nerdy like me and like into memes and stuff, I knew that this would be right up their street. I prefaced it as sort of a silly task, but secretly I was testing their knowledge. It was a form of informal assessment. I was seeing if they're able to use all the tools we'd looked at in the previous weeks in order to create this shape. So play to your strengths if you come from a similar background. Try to remember what it was like for you as a student and what was fun in your lessons. In university, I remember we 3D modelled the chair, and I took a picture of my friend's face and put his face as the chair. And I remember that lesson because it was funny and it was engaging. So the bad, being consistently harsh to your students in an unsupporting manner is going to make them remember you, but maybe not in the best way. If you're aggressive towards them and unsupportive, they might remember you as the bad teacher and might not want to come to your lessons. I remember in year 9 I really hated my English teacher. He was really nasty to me, belittling me, make me feel stupid. So I didn't respect him because of that, and I cared less and I listened less and I didn't absorb as much of the information from it. And if you are feeling anxious in that environment where you're uncomfortable with your teacher, people are just going to focus less on learning and focus more on maintaining their own mental health. So the boring. Personally, I need to be quite engaged in a lesson, otherwise I just absolutely mentally change channel. And I can't help that. I do try to zone back in, but it's just hard sometimes. If you're combining all the thrill of just talking to people and just standing there motionless, then it's really not engaging. I think what can help, specifically if you're doing some kind of art-based work, lots of visual imagery, something to look at while people are talking, just some kind of visual stimulation. Nobody likes to be bored. So my final words, there are limitations with this kind of thing. Some students just aren't interested in the course, and no matter how hard you try and dance, they just aren't going to be interested, and it's going to be hard to keep them engaged. Someone could try as hard as they could, but I would never start liking math. I'm not going to go out of my way to start doing math problems. But you can only do your best to support them when they do struggle or they don't like the content of the course. So that's pretty much everything from me. I hope you enjoyed my AI cowboys doing 3D modelling. Look how good it's generated Maya. Look how good that is. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. I hope everyone sort of enjoyed that. They love me. They really love me.
Thanks, folks. They're all some pan au chocolat left. The coffee machine's still here. Tuck in.
Oh my god. God, I'm sweating. Oh.
Just unusual. Always pan round to get everyone. Yeah. Hi, Luke. You okay?
I'm never okay. It's a Friday.
That's the day to be okay.